What's good, everybody? We back with my guy Five Star in Vegas, and hey, ever since that 1 week, man, where people start getting a little jumpy in the comments, I feel like we've been tearing their ass up
To
on this
bits.
football.
To bits. They made me have to reach and go give them some of my client plays. I was just coming on here to chop it up and kick it, but I see you got some real sharks in the water over here. Shout out to the chat, man. There's some real sports bettors over here. I enjoy talking to you guys. I enjoy you guys' opinion. Hit that like for my guy Skee right now.
Appreciate it. Definitely helps out the show. And guys, ready said, let's get this money with skiing 5 star fire picks.
Yes, sir.
Um, Mark, we did talk a little bit about that Syracuse plus sevens. No more plus sevens. He's looking for some endorsement. We will talk about one of these games. We might not talk about both, but we'll talk about one of those games.
Oh, he
Uh,
said, no, Mark, don't take Syracuse. No, no.
well, Ravino said he likes the other side too. So
Yeah, I like UNLV, man. I don't like Syracuse. This is their first, just real quick. I know we got to get into the show, but he asked the question, give you a real brief on my handicap on the game. One, this is the first road game for
mhm.
Syracuse. They have not been on the road, bro. You don't want to start your road game in Las Vegas with kids. Like, just think about that. Like, you think they were in the room last night? Like, and then they're facing a really good team that's reinvigorated. Sluka really gave this team motivation by doing what he did. Now all the teams like, yes, our boys in there now. Now we about to ball. Ricky White is a receiver and blocked the punt last week. Like y'all throw me the ball, man. Put me on punt block too. If we'd have blocked the punt like they're ready to play, man, I think UNLV a really good team. And I think that their defense is going to give Kyle McCord some issues. Probably be a high scoring game, but I definitely think that UNLV can cover that six. And I got 6 points. I laid that. I laid the 6 points with UNLV.
All right, that's now as 5 star. That's Vino saying stay away from that Syracuse side.
Yeah.
So you heard it from them guys. Pretentious prodigy, appreciate you. Tom Leach says 5 star killed it last week, my guy. And Samuel in the building showing you some love too says cash that Texas State first half. Says let's
Easy money,
go.
bro. That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
easy. Could have bet the full game too, because that I mean, dude, I had to sweat for mine. You know what my bet was? I took the first half too, but that
You took
under
the
57.
under for the game.
Oh, they had me over there.
Bro, what is JJ Keeney doing? Like this, and he's not the only one. We got who else did it? We did Coach Sanders did it, Prime did it. We had
Yeah.
Boise State coach did it. We have one more guy who did that as well, and I was so ticked off. But now JG Kenny joins that group of guys who are obviously either betting or just trying to cover the spread or a total for a particular booster. You could tell it's a booster that they kick it with who gives a lot of money to them. You guys gonna cover this weekend, right? Or you guys going over because he runs
That
the
last
clock
play, right?
down. Bro, he ran the clock down. You tell him what happened, Skee.
Yeah, running the clock down. They going down the field. All you really got to do is kneel the ball, really, because the other team is submitting. They don't want no more of this. But the
Right.
last play of the game, they throw it all the way to the end zone, bro. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy he didn't catch it though. But they
So
was trying.
dirty, but it was so dirty how they did it. Like you gonna put these guys to sleep where they thinking you just running the ball and running out the clock and then take a shot. I know that after that, Troy's coach probably was like, "Man, don't shake my hand, get away from me." I love to see that footage when they met at the 50 because, bro, this betting is making people lose their mind. It's just like social media.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that under cashing right there. So let's get to today. We got a little bit of college, a little bit of NFL, and he already talked to you about that UNLV Syracuse. Let's go to Michigan State and Oregon. This one opened up. I want to say it opened higher than what I'm seeing here. This site says 24 and a half, but I swear I saw 26 and a half.
Right.
And it's down as low as 23. There's still a lot of 23 and a halves. The total kind of sitting steady. Um, I don't like betting these big spreads. I can't lie. Is there any way we can get to the window with Michigan State?
That's what we're gonna try. Damn sure gonna try. That's an official play for me. I not laying those type of points in this situation. Me and Jay Money kind of talked this one out, and Jay Money had a great angle on that. They're playing Ohio State next week, man. Oregon's playing
Mhm.
Ohio State next week, and I didn't even factor that into my handicap. And I still was on Michigan State. My reason that I liked Michigan State in this game was because the coach. Simple as that. I'm a big fan of him. Jonathan Smith was at Oregon State a long time. He's played against Oregon his whole life, whether he was a quarterback at Oregon State or whether he was the coach. He doesn't like him. The only game that Oregon covered this year was against Oregon State. His old DC was the coach, and they blew him out. Besides that, Oregon has not covered against anyone else. I don't think they covered this game either. I like Aiden Childs. I know that he turns the ball over a lot, but he's one of those guys who can really hurt you with his legs and his arm. He just has to dial back. It's going to take him getting more repetition. So I think that Jonathan Smith is smart enough to know that they can't come out turning the ball over, throwing the ball over the field. They're going to try to run and establish a run game. But most of all, I like Michigan State's defense. I think that they have the type of team that has a lot of pride as well. You know, they lost 2 straight games. Once again, familiar territory for Jonathan Smith. I think he had those Spartans ready to play. This is, to me, really Oregon's first Big Ten game because they played UCLA last week. We know they both come from the Pac-12. So this is the first time they get in the trenches with a real Big Ten team. I think Michigan State has some action on this. You know, Friday nights are hella janky. So we're going to take that plus 23.5. There's no way in hell I'm giving up them type of points, especially with Oregon only scoring 6 points in the second half last week against UCLA. That means either they throttle down or they're struggling on offense. And if they throttle down last week at UCLA to play this game, I know they're going to throttle down this game to get ready for Ohio State next week. So give me the points, man. I got to go with Sparty.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm looking at them too. They've only covered 1 game so far this year. That's the only game they won by this big of a margin that we're looking at here, and that was versus Oregon State. So, hey, it sounds good. Plus 23.5. Not hard to talk me into that versus Oregon minus. I'm not taking the minus 23.5. I know that for a fact. So I'll roll with you on Michigan State. The chat, Tom Leach doesn't think Michigan can score, but maybe the defense gets the job done for them in this
Yeah,
game.
all we need, Mr. Leach, is just a couple turnovers from Dylan Gabriel. And we've seen that a couple times. You know, of course, we can't factor that into us breaking down the game because turnovers are random. But I do think that Michigan State gives an effort and things like that are what, you know, causes turnovers. It's hustling. So I don't think that Michigan State is as weak as you think they are. Even though they haven't played well, they got a really good offensive mind at the head coach, and he might figure out some things when he goes and travels to Eugene.
I like it. Good stuff there, 5-star. Um, only 2 other games in college today. We're gonna kick it over to NFL. And there was another game that we had a question on in the chat from our guy Mark. You answered his first question.
Okay.
Now we're gonna move it over to pretty sure this is London, Tottenham. We have Vikings versus the Jets, and opened up Jets minus 2.5. A flip of favorites. Now Minnesota minus 2.5. The total has come down 1.5 to 40.5. I want to say these games that are played in London are usually more towards under type games. I know you're not a totals guy, so I'll ask you. I mean, I know for a fact. I've talked to you every week about this Minnesota team. You're a believer in their coaching, and I don't think you think their success is fluky. Do you think they can get the job done here versus the Jets, who've started to gain a little bit of momentum?
I don't think it's fluke at all. In my power rankings, I actually have them second in the NFL.
Wow.
Strangely, I have the Ravens first with 2 losses, but I just think that it's bigger than just what your win-loss is. It's what I've seen you do when you're at your best. And I like what I see out there Ravens team, and I definitely like what I see out there Minnesota team, excuse me. And it's basically this. We know there's going to be a lot of tickets on Minnesota. We know that's the square away and all that. But remember, the Jets are a team that's from one of the richest areas in the world. They're from like Kew Gardens, from the Queens area. All the biggest fans of the Jets are Jewish people from that area of the world. That they love the Jets and they love the Mets. Anyone else in New York is fans of the Yankees and the Giants. Their fan base is a really rich fan base. So no matter what the tickets are, it's going to be plenty of money on them regardless every week. Believe that. Second, this is the most important thing to me about this game. That was just to kind of define why I'm not really worried about the market and the ticket count. Because I don't really like being on the side of the public. You and I, either one of us do on football. But now let's look at the coordinators. We got Nate Hackett going against the boogeyman Brian Flores. Are you serious? We got a team that leads the league in sacks with 17 sacks going against the weakest offensive line in the whole NFL. We got a pissed off Aaron Rodgers who hates Robert Saleh and doesn't want him to coach him. And we've seen how that's went before when he's a cancer in the locker room and ticked off. He doesn't want to play. He's calling his own plays because he doesn't trust what they're doing over there. They can't block up. And think about their offense. Besides Brees Hall, how much talent is on the Jets offense? Like, those dudes aren't getting open. So, man, be a fool if you want to. Try to be smart and take the Jets. I understand if that's what you want, do you. But me, I really respect Kevin O'Connell. I really respect the type of product that I think they put on the field. And another thing, the Vikings are 3-0 when going overseas. So this isn't their first time going on their trip. Also, Sam Darnold, that's another factor we're not looking at. This is a revenge spot for him. You know they want to win that game and give him the game ball after and say, you beat the Jets after they gave up on you. I'm going with the Vikings. I don't think the Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores let these guys have an off week against a game that's very winnable. They're not going to just punt this game, to look out for the books. They're not company men. They're coming to play. So give me the Vikings, man.
Am I mistaken? Didn't Flores sue the NFL?
Yeah, he sued him.
Yeah,
and I
he
think
definitely not
they
a
might have
company man.
settled with him out. They might have settled with him out of court. You know why he got in trouble? Because he's an honest guy. That's like me and you. People don't like honest people, man. They want you to be a part of the charade. And he's an honest dude. And what happened is Bill Belichick, real briefly on what happened with that lawsuit since you brought it up, Bill Belichick is a good friend of Brian Flores. Just pretended like he was texting somebody else, but texted to Flores that, hey, they already hired, this guy. And when Flores got it, he was like, oh, so they never really even considered me as the coach. Right. So they just pretty much used me to fill the Rooney rule, which says you have to interview at least one minority, which is such a bullshit rule. Like you have to, interview a minority. Now you dragging these dudes in here being disrespectful to all the work they put in by just having them as just pretty much a figure that they don't even have a chance of getting the job. The type of dude Brian Flores is. He wasn't with that. So he tried to sue them for antitrust laws and things like that. But I think the NFL settled with him out of court or something. That's why he ended up going back to the league. Tomlin got him to come to the Steelers, help him on the defense to give him, introduction back to the league. And then Kevin O'Connell, smart enough and, enough charisma to say, I'm not scared to let this guy who's really a strong presence and who's a head coach himself come into my office with me and work with me. And it's been the best thing he could ever done because now Minnesota has two competent head coaches and they're not losing to the weak ass Jets.
I'll tell you one thing. I respect that Flores will speak his mind, and I also agree with him on one thing. Oh, maybe I should leave him alone. Nah, Tua is trash, man. Let him know. Tell him he is. You don't even belong to be like. He was telling Tua the truth in my mind.
Yeah, he was.
Tua didn't want to hear it, and he wanted to get him out of there. But
he was telling him, man, you got to get tougher, bro. You too soft. You around here with that Hawaiian lifestyle. Everything's beautiful and tropical, and now you came to Miami. It's the same thing, but bro, when you jump on this field and between these lines, it's a war. This isn't the same stuff. You got to change your attitude. But that's why Mike McDaniel goes perfectly with him, and they're gonna do what they always do: score some points when he comes back, and not make the playoffs and not do too much.
All right, let's move over to the next game, and this one is without even hearing you break it down, it's one that I think I can get behind here and that I'm interested in, to say the least. But Packers at Rams opened up with the Packers as 3.5-point favorites. I mean, I see a 3.5 still out there, but I do see threes. I see threes. A lot of threes across the board. Total has shot up 4 points from 44.5 to 48.5. Packers, they could have won that game last week. It was a lot of things that was happening, missing field goals, et cetera, et cetera. They had a lot of chances, and it was Love's first game back off of the injury. I want to say, I can expect Love. Here's where I'll start. I don't trust the Rams defense. I'll say that, and their offense is extremely banged up. So if the Packers get a lead here, it's hard for me to see the Rams catching up. Do you think Packers can get that early lead? And do you like the Packers in this game?
I love the Packers in this game. One, they're desperate. They can't lose a game to the Rams right here with 2 losses already on the season, and want to be a team that at least gets into the dance. You know, I have a ticket on them to win the NFC at plus 700. And the reason I took it was because I think that when they get into the dance as a wild card, I always thought they'd be a wild card because I see Detroit's schedule as being much easier than theirs, and Detroit's going to probably win that division. Detroit or Minnesota now. But I think the Green Bay does get in as a wild card, and I think that they can give people problems for the exact reason we saw last week against Minnesota. No one's scoring 22 points in the fourth quarter on O'Brien Flores defense except for Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. Like, they're a different type of beast when they're clicking on, right. He can call the plays, Jordan Love can deliver, and they got the receivers that can get open. They're all going to be on the inside, on the turf, and SoFi. You know that the Cheeseheads are going to take over the stadium. This is going to be a home game for the Packers because the Rams do not have a strong fan base in LA. I think the Cheeseheads take over, and it's just a big party from the beginning to the end. I'm on the Packers first half and for the game. I don't see how the Rams stop them. You know, the Packers are second in the league in rushing, and these are legit rushing numbers. They're not like the number one rushing team, which is the Ravens, because you got to factor in Lamar running the ball too, along with Derrick Henry. Jordan Love doesn't scramble like that. He might scramble to throw. He's not running the ball like Lamar. So these are pure rushing yards that the Packers are getting, and they're second in the league. And guess who's the worst team stopping the rush in the whole league? The Rams. They're beat up, no receivers to throw the ball to. Even Robinson is hurt this week. He was trying to come along and try to help them out with, Nakua gone and with Cooper Kupp out. I just don't know what Matt Stafford does except for drop back and ball up. One thing that you have to watch, though, the Packers do lead the league in defensive penalties. They're real touchy, with the defensive backfield because they lead the league also in interceptions. They're a team that's really aggressive. So expect them to pick off Stafford at least once or twice. Also, the Rams lead the league in turnover margin. They've given up the ball the most in the league. So, and don't, take the ball back. I just like the Packers. This is a perfect spot for LaFleur and for Love to get right, for him to kind of like get his feet back set right and everything. And, for the Packers to go to LA and have a good time and win. I think the Packers get it done. I'm all the way around. Every which way you want to bet, I'm betting them. The only bet I would make for the Rams would be Kyron Williams to score. He's pretty much been money every week.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that bet. And we're lined up with this Packers team. I mean, that Rams, I think they're number 32 as far as the amount of money they spend on defense. I think they get murdered in that game.
Jay Breed's gonna have a big game, Skee. He's so fast, so quick, and now he's on turf. Remember what he did against the Cowboys on that turf, how that offense for Green Bay looked. People forget this is a high-flying offense. They play in Green Bay, so they're not on really a turf and, the type of atmosphere where you see it as well. But, boy, when they get inside, they're going to put some points up, man.
I like it. That play makes 1,000% sense to me. I know those are the games you want to talk about. There are a few other games that I kind of want to talk out or ask you some questions on.
Sure.
And maybe I'll move over to this one here first. I heard you say, they're number one in your power rankings. The people in the chat know I'll disagree, but we don't got to talk about that. I'll just ask
you. You're like Lamar.
Yeah. They opened as a 1.5 point favorite. They're now 2.5. Total went up from 47 to 49. So some people thinking there's going to be points scored in this game. People also liking the Ravens. My question is this. I'll say this before I ask the question. The division is not locked up yet. I'm pretty sure the Steelers are still in number one, but that somebody can catch up to the Steelers. And even though Cincinnati is, kind of at the bottom, I still don't think they're dead yet as far as, do they have a chance? But it's another question if I trust them. Burrow, I mean, we kind of talked about this before. He looking like a clone. He ain't looking like the same Burrow we used to know at LSU and that first year in the league. Are they going to be desperate? Are they going to be hungry in this game to still stick around to win this division game? Or is Baltimore? I mean, they look since Lamar was on that plane, like get that camera on my face, etc. They look like they locked in. So are you going with? I'm assuming you would choose Baltimore over Cincinnati. But my question is Cincinnati done, or do they still have any life?
They're done as long as they stay so injured on the defensive side. Luana Rumu is a really good DC, but he doesn't have anything to work with. They've just been decimated with injuries on that side of the ball, and they're running to a juggernaut. The offense for Baltimore is number one in 4 to 5 major categories in running the ball in the league. Most importantly, they're number one total yards in the NFL. You know, that's a big thing for us as bettors, and a number one in yards per play. That's a huge thing for us as bettors. They're getting 7 yards per play. And think about it, they're a running team. So that means that the Ravens are mauling teams. They're pretty much mauling. They're playing high school ball, man, and just manhandling, just out physical all of these teams. So with that said, I just like everything about Lamar. As you said, his mind state right now. I know Cincinnati just played some really good games against Baltimore. It's a division rivalry. Baltimore's weak on the defensive backfield. I'm not a fan of Marlon Humphreys. I'm not a fan of any of their DBs. Their DBs are weak. They usually get to you with a really great pass rush to kind of hide their defensive weaknesses on the back end. But can Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow do enough to take advantage of it? I'm always going to take a team that can run the ball really at a high level over a team that can pass at a really high level. And the reason why is because, as I said many times before, running the ball takes the souls from teams, bro. When you can't get off the field and they're just plowing you over and over and just running the ball and doing what they want, talking to you bad, it's different, man. So Cincinnati, I think, is pretty much punted on the season. I don't think that they have much chance. I don't like their backfield. Zach Moss, we've seen him a million times before. He's just a serviceable back. He's a second string back. He shouldn't be a starter. Chase Brown is good. He's young and he's small. He's really small in the NFL. He was small in college and dynamic, but he's super small out here with these grown men. And he had a pretty good game last week in Carolina, but that's the Panthers, man. So I just worry about that offense of the Bengals without a running game where everything's just Burrow dropping back. The offensive line isn't that good, so I don't think that they can handle the Ravens. I know it's square. I think this might be a square weekend, bro. I like the Ravens, man, in this one.
Well, to be fair, I saw a stat that said this has been the worst start for the public in the NFL over the last, I don't know, 20 some years.
Yeah.
So could be about that time for, a public feast
You
this
know they do
weekend.
it 3 times a year. Out the schedule, as long as we've been betting, we know like 3 times out the year, the way that we bet is people look at markets, combine it with football and stuff, and combine it with the court action, whichever games it is, the market that we're covering. It's always the same thing. It's going to be one weekend where you looking like, damn, this
Them
was easy. I
parlays
missed it.
cashing.
Everything was easy and I missed it. I think this is one of those weekends.
I can see it, especially like I said, how the season has gone so far. And
Yeah.
I do think Ravens have looked like the better team. They're the hungrier team. They're definitely a team that has not given up. So Ravens aside, I would prefer to have my money on as well. You know who we got to talk about every week, right?
Who's that?
Texans versus the
Oh, yeah.
Bills.
Yeah, we got to talk Texas. You
And
were
you
so
know,
happy the Astros got knocked out.
hey, I try to leave you alone. I try to leave you alone because I
Hey,
know you was unhappy.
that's all right. Your Dodgers are going home this week. Well, this week, because the Padres are about to get on their roll. I already bet the Padres for the series.
I didn't heard a lot of people liking the Padres too. We'll see though. We'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see, man. We'll see.
I
But
know. I know. We still playing right now. That's all I know.
yeah, you are. You are. You are. But who the last one to wear a ring? Who the last one to lift that thing up, though? So me and them Dodgers Astros, we're gonna always be beefing on that one.
Oh yeah, always.
It's
But
it's eternal beef.
yeah, eternal. It ain't going away no time soon.
No
But
time
this
soon, bro.
team, we can agree with on this team. I'm a CJ Stroud believer. I like him a
Yeah.
lot. You know who else is my boy? I like Josh Allen. He's a one-man army.
Yeah.
He said, Stephon Diggs, get up out of here. We'll get a ball to whoever's open, man. I do it by myself anyway.
Right.
Here's what I'll say. The Bills' weakness, in my opinion, coming into the season, I'll start off and say the secondary, they had to replace the entire secondary, right? So I didn't expect them to play good. They didn't play good to start, but I think they've started to play a little bit better. I think the weakness for this Bills team is the run game. Like they can be ran all over. But the
Yeah.
Texans, I mean, Mixon is still hurt. I'm unsure if he's back in there today. Can the Texans take advantage of that? Is the big question for me.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it to you to answer that. And who you think gonna come out as the top dog in this game?
I won't be making this an official play. I'll be more watching as a fan, but I would definitely lean toward Houston. And the main reason that I lean toward Houston is injuries. I think that Ed Oliver and Shakir being out are huge. Shakir is like turned to the security blanket for Josh Allen. That's his favorite receiver. And you notice after he got hurt, how the offense kind of declined against Baltimore. So he doesn't trust Keon Coleman yet as his number one guy. So who's he going to throw to? He's just going to work to the tight ends. And Ed Oliver is huge to that team. I've known Oliver since he was a kid, man. We used to watch him play at North Shore. He played in one of the leagues that we coached in on another team. So I've known him since he was a little boy. And Ed Oliver, man, he's something serious when it comes to, what he means to that team. He's very, very, important to their run defense. He's important to just the moxie of the team. He's the best player on their defense. So him being out, that's what that kind of tilted everything for me to make me say Texans. Also, C.J. Stroud is due a big game, and I think that these are the defensive backs that he can do it against. The Bills aren't strong, really, in the defensive backfield. They let go a lot of big-name guys and
The
kind of just
whole secondary.
the whole secondary has been replaced. They're pretty much running around with, what's your boy name who got hurt? What's his name?
I forget the DBs. I don't
Yeah,
really.
you know that guy he almost died on TV or something.
Oh, Hamlin. Hamlin.
Hamlin. It's Hamlin and a bunch of guys. That's all it is back there now. So, good luck stopping the Texans offense with that. Their defense against the run, though, is horrible. They're last ranked, they're 32nd ranked in the yards per rush, 5.7. But as you said, Cam Akers, man, he's not the guy. He
Nope.
hasn't been the same since he left LA. So it sounds like to me like it's going to be a quarterback game. I've also talked to you before about how I do not like how these offensive coordinators try to be so damn smart. And we got two of them here who try to do too much. They're really good play callers, but then they get fancy and forget that they have two of the best quarterbacks in the league that they can just rely on. Just rely on your quarterbacks and your players. And if Joe Brady, whoever keeps it most simple out of Joe Brady for the Bills or for Bobby Slowick for Houston will be victorious. Joe Brady has done a better job over the year because leading into the game against the Ravens, the Bills were leading the league, I want to say, in scoring. They were doing really good offensively. And then the Texans, they're struggling. They aren't living up to the hype because it seems like Slowick doesn't know what to do with three wide receivers. Now that he has all three, he doesn't know what to do. He's running too much bull stuff, So stop all of the extra, crap, all of trying to be smart in the reverses. Just line it up, allow CJ to pick this team apart, and you'll be okay. We know that the defense for the Texans should show up and, give Josh Allen a little bit of trouble, harass him a little bit. The last two times he's played in Houston, he lost both playoff games, so he doesn't have a lot of great memories of NRG Stadium. But I lean toward the Texans on this one.
Hearing you talk about this game and thinking about it some more, I mean, it's kind of reminding me of. I'm thinking it could play out how we saw that game last night play out, where it wasn't the most running the ball. It was a lot of passing, and they was running it up. I'm starting to think that total is the way to go up and over. Whoever is down as the quarterback too, they can go down the field and score some points and either tie or win them the game.
Yeah.
So over will be my lean here. 5-star looking a little bit towards Texans. I got one
Texas
more I want.
line have to play better too, Skee. The line for the Texans has been horrible. They're 30th ranked in sack yards. They're 26th ranked in sacks allowed. They're allowing CJ to get sacked 4 times a game. That's not good. Larry Tunsil, I don't know what the hell he's doing. He offside 6, 7 times a game, So they got to tighten that up. But I think there's a lot of teaching points for D'Amico Ryans, and I think D'Amico Ryans is one of those coaches who does a really good job of communicating with his team and preparing them for the week. So I think that the Texans will be ready. Another thing, Buffalo is coming off getting blown out, so we'll see a good effort. This is going to be a good one. The over is probably the play. Probably, like you said, 47.5. I could see that getting, happening.
Yeah, I gotta look a little bit more into that, but definitely looks like an over game for me. Um, probably last game here I want to ask you about
Okay.
Dallas and Steelers. This one stands out to me because the Steelers are the favorite. I mean, I know the Steelers, what they're 3-1 so far. They've been a little bit of overachievers in everybody's eyes. But still, I don't think of the Steelers as like the Cowboys were supposed to be better than the Steelers this year, is what I'm trying to say. So seeing it open Cowboys -1 and flip to Pittsburgh -2.5. I mean, are the Cowboys just unhealthy? Are the Cowboys just untrustworthy? Or are the Steelers just that good?
Little bit of both. Cowboys are definitely unhealthy, and now you add to that with their defensive leader, Michael Parsons, not going to play. So they're missing a lot over there with Dallas. And offensively, they don't have a running game, man. You think that it's smart to drop Dak back 50 times against this Steelers pass rush, you know? So that's what's going to be the issue for Dallas. When you're the last ranked team in running the ball, you got to throw too many times. And Dak isn't that good of a quarterback to just put the game on his right arm like that, especially against a defense that's top 10 in the league in every category on defense, passing and rushing. So the Steelers defense has been literally just outstanding. Terrell Austin does a really good job with their team. This is a traditional rivalry. So when the Cowboys pull up to Heinz Field, you're going to see the terrible towels everywhere. They're going to be really up for this game. Also, the Steelers are coming off a loss. Tomlin has an exemplary record off a loss. I think that the Steelers is the play on this game. I think that the Cowboys are going to struggle in this one to put up points because I think that they won't be able to block the Steelers, man. And I think that Justin Fields continues to do just enough for them. And, you know, I could see the Steelers winning this one 20-10 or something like that. I think that they cover.
I like it. This is one that I like. It makes sense to me. And the line is kind of, in a way, line is kind of screaming at me, telling me that the Steelers are the right side. So
Yeah,
love to hear that from you. And I think we did a pretty good job today. So
sure.
it's about that time where we can move it on over to best bets. And best bets or recap, whatever you want to do. I mean, probably recap. We don't want
Recap.
the people putting plays on you and you ain't got them in your pocket. So before you give that, is there anything you would like to promote?
Just always, you guys continue to tune into the Wager World. I'm on. It's usually Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but I'm working on a new film, and the deadline is like October 7th. Man, I'm rarely getting sleep. I know you guys see me now. Look like I've been up like 4 days. I stayed up till 4 in the morning playing tennis last night because I was watching that Sabalenka Muhova match, and I was able
Get
to
that
catch.
money.
Yeah, had to get that money, so I was up. So yeah, man. So that's the reason why we're not doing a Monday show right now. I'm just doing Wednesdays and Fridays, but we make sure on Wednesdays to give you guys all the plays you need for Thursday and Friday, and on Saturday, and on the Friday show to give you the weekend plays, of course. And you know I'm going to be here with Skee. We're going to be here with you guys on every Friday, so you can catch me here if you want to follow me. I'm on X at 5-Star Vegas, and once again, the website's www.thewagingworld.com. Still in construction because I turned it into a store. We're going to be selling a lot of merchandise like what you see that I have on. And it's going to be a really, really nice page, man. So you guys be patient with me on that and make sure that you go check it out. When it's up, I'll make sure to tell you on the show right here. As far as in my recap, my official plays are going to be Michigan State plus 23.5. I got plus 24, but the 23.5 is still good. Since the guy asked me in the chat, I did play UNLV -6. You guys can ride with me on that one. Let's stay positive and let's try to cash on that one. And then we're going on Sunday. We're going to go square, but we're going with the better teams. I'm not mad anytime I bet with a better team and a better coach, even if some janky happens. So give me the Vikings money line and -2 against the Jets, and also give me the Packers -3 money line and first half money line. So I'm betting the Packers 4 ways on that game. I think that they dominate.
I love it. Great stuff from my guy, 5-Star. And for myself, not necessarily, I guess you can call it capping the capper, but I'll say this time is trusting the guy who's been feeding us these last 3 weeks, and it makes sense. I mean, look ahead game for Oregon. They've only covered one a day, 4 games. I think that Michigan State play plus what? That's a what 3, 4 scores right there.
Yeah,
That sounds like a pretty good play to me, especially with a what the total was like 50 or was it 40 something.
yeah.
So I think that as long as the defense plays solid, we can stay within the number. I'll use that as my best bet for the show. Michigan State plus 23.5. 5-star. Always appreciate you taking the time to come break these games down with us. You've been putting money in a lot of people's pockets, and always got to let you know we appreciate you. So I'm sure I'll get with you soon. We'll talk about
Now I'm gonna
we'll talk
watch
some
that
more.
game tonight. We can watch that one. That 24. We can watch that.
Yeah.
That's enough points to go.
All right.
Yeah, I don't.
We'll go to
You know me,
Jankville.
I'm not staying too long if they get on the close ones, man. I think that 24 enough room for me to kind of chill. We can watch the game tonight. I'll probably pull up on you.
I pulled one of the moves you be doing yesterday. I had to get
Oh,
up out
bless.
of there, go change the energy.
We gotta go change that edge. I can't believe we cashed that Mets game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I gave up on it. I was like, this shit is over with. I wasn't even watching. I looked on my phone and checked my account and said, damn, they won. And that's how I ended up
Hey,
finding out. But I appreciate everyone in the chat. I appreciate you guys, how you stay positive. I appreciate all the good comments that you guys give me and everything. We do this, for you guys, man. We take our time because we just enjoy, sending out positive vibes and, putting money in people's pockets, man. So just continue to support the show and, you guys hit that like button for my guy.
he said it best. We'll leave on that note. So appreciate y'all in the chat. We'll get with y'all next week. Peace.